Tales, Chapter 20, Grey Route. I feel like I am an emotional roller coaster. With Grey, we're going up and down, up and down, up and down. Days pass by without a word from Grey. Great, lovely. Which I wouldn't have been too worried about if I hadn't known he'd still been here, running his regular poker nights. The thought was eating at me. He was still so close, but hadn't once stopped by to say hello. I'm sure now that I'd done something wrong down in the basement the other night. Was he madder than I thought? I had wanted to play a game with them. It wasn't until this morning when I was lying in bed after my alarm had gone off that he had finally messaged me asking if we could hang out tonight. I said yes, of course. It's about time I got some answers from him for this sudden silence. It's nearing the end of the day now, and while all of my appointments for today are done, there are a couple of people in the store browsing. I've just finished speaking to a couple when the front door opens and I look up to see a familiar face. Afternoon, sweetheart. Looking lovely as ever. I see. Ivan croons, earning nothing but a scowl in reply. I hate how he calls us sweetheart. Because I didn't get a nickname from Grey. After his attitude during the poker game the other night, this is the last person I want to have a conversation with. Although it doesn't seem like I have much of a choice. He strolls into the shop, his eyes fixed on me as he grins. My entire mood sours at the sight of him. What the hell does he want now? I'd appreciate it if he didn't come into my store during opening hours, I tell him curtly. I'm trying to run a business here. And a legit one at that. And I admire what you're doing here, trust me. I'll only take a few minutes of your time, Ivan assures me, his tone is oddly soft. You're welcome to make an appointment, I say sweetly in return. He gives me a pointed look, and when I don't back down, he lets out a dramatic sigh. Alright, I'll play along. When's your next appointment, he asks. Let me see. I flip open my appointment book on the counter and pretend to scroll through my bookings. He waits as I take my time, relishing the opportunity to get a little payback for his rudeness towards me the other night. My next free appointment is 3 months from now, I declare with a flourish of the pen I just picked up. Should I book you in? Cut the games, little doll. I'm here for something important, he burst out. I cross my arms over my chest, debating whether I should send him packing without another word, though I'd be lying if I said I'm not interested in what he has to say. Fine, I'm listening, I say sharply. Ivan grins again. I'm in the market to buy a shop. Nothing too fancy, just a nice little business to make a tidy profit from. What kind of business? I asked with suspicions raised. Are you trying to bring your own poker game? To be a competitor? The smile spreads across his face in a way I'm not sure I like. A boutique would do nicely, something fresh and new, and preferably directly above my base operations. Are you crazy? I'm not selling my business to you. I cut him off abruptly, turning to storm back around the counter. Something tells me you'll soon change your mind, he continues, unfazed by the rejection. And what would make you think that? I spit back at him. He looks me up and down, sizing me up. Despite the fact that he towers over me considerably, I'm determined to stand my ground against him. I always get my way, he tells me. Not this time, I promise. Ivan thinks for a moment. I can almost see the cogs moving behind his eyes before he turns and waves his arms at my customers. Shop's closed, he growls, and I watch in horror as they make a break for the exit. Now you're just causing a scene. I feel like he's gonna call the cops and bust me. Get out, all of you, he yells after them, stomping all the way to the front door. I step out from behind the counter and push past Ivan towards them. Wait, no, we're not closed, I start, but it's too late. They've already dashed through the door and out into the street. What is wrong with you? I turn on Ivan angrily, my fists clench into balls at my sides. I really could have used those sales. Like I said, I always get what I want. You soon find out that I'm not the kind of man you want to cross, he sneers at me. Get out of my store, I screech, so furious I can almost feel the steam pouring from my ears. Ivan gives me a last knowing grin before heading for the door, looking awfully pleased with himself. The door swings open before he reaches it, revealing Grey, who looks between the two of us from my furious, flushed face to Ivan's smug grin and puzzlement. Jansen, Ivan greets him before pushing past and heading through the door. At least he's gone for now. Grey turns to me as Ivan leaves the boutique, his expression confused. Is everything okay? He asks. No. If by okay you mean Ivan scaring all my customers out the store, then yeah, just peachy. I scoff as I throw my arms up in frustration. Grey runs a hand over his face, his expression pissed as he looks behind him, as though considering whether he should go after Ivan right away. I told him to stay away from you. He obviously needs to be told again, and more firmly this time, he glowers. He was trying to talk me into selling the store to him, I tell Grey, drawing his attention back to me. How does he expect to convincingly run a fashion boutique? I think out loud. The man's an oaf. Grey ponders the thought for a moment, his eyes fixed on the door before the door Ivan had walked through mere moments ago. He's trying to use it as a front for the business, he says. Yeah, that much is obvious, I huff in exasperation. I can see why he wants it. It's inconspicuous and convenient, Gray continues. Any fluctuation in profits he can explain away easily enough. Sounds like you've thought about this before, I say in accusation. I just know the way he thinks about these things, he explains with a grim look. I'm really not comfortable having him around, I confess. This entire scheme you've got going on with him. I may tolerate it, Gray, but... Gray takes a step back and his face falls slightly. I know, Gray says gently. There are things I wish I didn't have to do either. What do you mean? I ask. Look, I'll make sure nothing happens to your boutique, okay? Sensing he wants to change the subject, I comply. Alright, fine. Are you still on for tonight? I ask. Gray hesitates. Actually, I'm going to have to cancel on tonight. Oh! I stop what I'm doing to turn to him. Something came up. Something I need to take care of as soon as possible, he explains. Something about him seems off, and I get the feeling that this news about Ivan has shaken him up more than he's willing to let on. First, I don't hear from you in days, and now you're canceling on our plans. Is there something going on that I should know about? I blurt out. It's starting to feel like there's a lot more going on that Gray isn't telling me about. No, it has nothing to do with you, trust me. So you're not mad at me? Mad? Why would I be mad at you? The other night in the basement when I said I would play a game, I trail off. Gray sighs again as though he's only just realized now. The thought didn't thrill me, and I'll admit that I've been trying to keep all of that out of your hair, but I'm not mad at you. I've just had a lot on my plate. Sorry for not saying anything sooner. Okay, well, maybe we can do something on the weekend, I ask hopefully. Gray looks at me finally, his expression softening as he steps closer. Yeah, that would be great, he says. Are we... Whatever. I have no energy for this anymore, whatever. We're just a situationship. He leans in and kisses me, pulling away much too soon. I'm really sorry, he says again. I say goodbye and wave him off with a sad smile. I've been looking forward to finally spending some time with him, but it seems like I'll have to wait a little longer. The next day I stand at the counter in the boutique, drumming my fingers along the surface and letting out a sigh. The store has been dead all day and I don't understand why. Usually around this time I've had a few people come in to browse on their way home from work. I head over to the windows and peer through, wondering where everyone could be today. Maybe there's a parade in the city or some apocalyptic event is taking place, keeping everyone away. When I look out into the street, I see people coming and going like always, and then my spirits lift when I notice a customer approaching the boutique. Finally! I recognize her as one of my regulars. She works in a store nearby and often stops in on her way home from work to browse my new items. A couple of men step up to the woman and say a few words. She looks confused, her eyebrows dipped in the middle, before she abruptly turns and leaves. I pull the front door open so hard I'm surprised I haven't ripped it off to its hinges before stepping out into the street. Hey! I call to the two men. It's now that I notice I've seen them hanging out with Ivan before, and I curse beneath my breath. Of course he would have something to do with this. What do you think you're doing? Questioned them. We're under strict instructions not to let anyone into the shop. The shorter of the two men folds his arm across his chest, grinning at me smugly. You're not supposed to tell her that. The other guy, balding, wearing a black coat, smacks his friend on the back of his head. You need to leave before I call the cops. I stand my ground, my voice shaking in anger. You could call the bloody queen, love. No one's going to move us from the spot, the bald man argues. Is being kind worth it at this point? But is being petty as they're being petty worth it? It's like there's no winning here. This is my property. Please leave, I say firmly. No can do. The bald man crosses his arms over his chest, digging his heels in. Because you see, when we're given a job, we make sure to see it through. Surely you have better things to do than stand here on the street all day. I attempt to reason with them. Do we have families, hobbies? The shorter of the two gives me a toothy smile. Well, there is my coin collection. I've got coins from all over the world, and sometimes I like to take the time to just sit there and shush! The bald man cuts him off from speaking, knocking the dreamy look from his face with a nudge to the arm. No one wants to hear about your bloody coin collection, he says to him. She asked, Shorty argues. Because she's trying to trick us into leaving instead of doing our job, Baldy sneers. Isn't that right, love? With a frustrated growl, I storm back into the boutique and head for the counter, searching for my phone. I need to think of a better solution for getting rid of them. Scrolling through my contacts to find Gray's name, press the little icon beside it, holding the device to my ear while I glare out the front window. The phone rings a few times before getting his voicemail. I try twice more, but there's still no answer. I helplessly rack my brain for another idea. I need to get these guys away from the building. I know that calling cops will be no good. I hit Sarah's name and dial her number. Hey! Her cheery voice sounds through the phone. Sarah, I've got an emergency. I need your help. Can you come by the store? I speak quickly. Oh my god, what's happened? Are you hurt? Are you sick? She asked frantically. No, I'm fine. It's just, I'll explain when you get here. I cut her short, my tone impatient. I'll come over as soon as I can. She assures me before hanging up. Sarah arrives about half an hour later. The men outside have managed to scare off another few customers during that time, despite my efforts to thwart them. Can't we just call the cops? Sarah asked after explaining the situation to her as outraged as I am. You know they would just make things worse, I tell her. Alright, so we take things into our own hands. The window in your bedroom has the best view of the street, right? She asked, her smile turning wicked. Yes? Why? What are you thinking? I arch an eyebrow. Tomorrow morning, we'll mix together a nasty concoction from the kitchen and dump it over their big heads, she grins. Then they'll have no choice but to leave, and if we make it disgusting enough, I'm sure they won't be back in a hurry. I stare at her for a moment, completely dumbfounded. That's actually a really good idea, I tell her as I take mental inventory of my pantry. But who the fuck's gonna clean that up? It's gonna be stinky in front of your shop by then. There's bound to be tons of random things in there that we can use. But what if they keep coming back? I say, troubled by the thought. Then they'll have a bucket of muck waiting with their names on it, she says gleefully. I blow out a breath as I think the idea through. There's every chance that Ivan will find another way to get at me, but I can't just sit back and do nothing. What are you doing tonight? Do you want to stay over? I asked Sarah, my mind made up. Of course, it'll be just like old times, she winks. Sarah is truly the girlies girls. The girls. She's just there. Without a second thought, she's like, yeah. Yep, it wasn't too long ago that we were just two single girls with only each other for company, I say with a sigh. I have to admit that I really like having Jen and Gray around, though. Sarah winks in response. I think back on earlier, to Gray canceling his plans with me, to him having barely spoken a word to me all week, and I sigh. Yeah, me too. The next morning, I wake up and get ready for work as usual. Shower, brush teeth, eat breakfast, and pick out a comfortable outfit for our mission this morning. Gray never called me back, but he did send me a message late last night saying he had been busy and would call me today. I felt weird after reading it and confused by this distance that seems to be growing between us, right when I thought things were picking up. Shaking the thought from my head, I head downstairs to open the boutique for the day, but instead of unlocking the front door, I peek through the curtain covering the windows. Shorty and Body are already there, the same guys from yesterday. I scour their backs and poke out my tongue before turning and sprinting back upstairs to my home. They're there, I tell Sarah as I enter the kitchen, taking a moment to catch my breath. She grins in a way that I can only describe as maniacal. Maniacal? Well, I don't know. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say that she's enjoying herself. I spot the blender she's pulled out and sit on the counter next to a large mixing bowl. Let's get to work, she says. What should we add to our more unrepelling potion first? Open the fridge to take a peek inside. I like to cook most of my meals at home, so my kitchen is usually well stocked. Ketchup and mustard seems like a good start, I offer. Perfect, Sarah approves. I hand the bottles over, watching her squeeze a generous amount of each into the blender. How about some lemon juice? Hopefully it'll get in their eyes. I giggle before cutting a fresh lemon in half and squeezing the juice into the blender. Oh, and chili powder. I pull a small container from my spice rack. That'll give them a nasty kick. Oh. No, let's be truly evil here, she says as she picks up a bottle of chili flakes. One of these bad boys in their eyes and you'll be crying for your mommy in no time. It's not going to permanently damage your eyes, right? I ask cautiously. Sarah shrugs nonchalantly. As long as they don't continue rubbing it in, I don't see how it could have lasting damage. We search the kitchen for a few more ingredients, adding vinegar, honey, pickle juice, and soy sauce to the mix. Ew. We blend everything up, pouring half the contents into the mixing bowl. It smells revolting. I gag at the stench wafting up towards my nose. That's the point, Sarah says proudly. Who'd want to stand around on the street all day smelling like a garbage disposal? Sarah takes the bowl with her and we head to my bedroom, giggling like a couple of schoolgirls. Oh my god. As long as you don't pour it over someone we know. I climb on the top of the dresser and slide open the window, peering out over the street. I can see them, I whisper to Sarah as she joins me. You take the bald guy there and I'll take the short one, she says as she raises the bowl, ready to tip the contents out over our unsuspecting victims. Ready? I ask Sarah, who nods in return. 1, 2... On 3, she pours the contents out over the men, hearing the splatter of the mix before they shriek out loud. We quickly back from the window, and I shove a hand over her mouth to keep from laughing out loud. I can still hear their moans and groans drifting up through the open window, and we know without a shadow of a doubt that they'll know who just tipped the liquefied contents of their kitchen all over their heads. Unable to resist any longer, we sneak towards the window in time to see the two buffoons dashing across the road, covered in a brown sticky mess and yelling about their burning eyes. I better leave, Sarah shouts at them from the window. There's more where that came from, I join her, trying to stifle my laughter. I watch as they disappear down the street before heading down to the boutique where I pull open the curtains and unlock the front door. This time, thankfully, I find the sidewalk outside free from any of Ivan's friends. That was amazing! Sarah comes up behind me, raising her hand for a high five. I give her a grateful smile as I slap my hand against hers. Thanks for helping out. My pleasure, she says with a grin. If you don't mind, I might stick around for a while, make sure they don't come back. Somehow I doubt those two will be back anytime soon, at least not before they've managed to scrub every inch of themselves clean. But I'm on a high after our plan worked out perfectly, and I'm enjoying spending this time with Sarah. Be my guest, I say. We get stuck into a few odd jobs, dusting shelves, cleaning mannequins, tidying racks, but as the day drags on, there are still no customers in sight. It doesn't take long for me to come crashing down from my high after realizing that chasing away Ivan's guys has done absolutely nothing to help. I don't understand what's going on, I say out loud, talking to Sarah, who is perched on a stool behind the counter. Not a single person has come in here since those idiots left, I sigh. Maybe it'll take a little while for things to pick up again, she suggests as she flips through a fashion magazine. I try to agree with her, but somehow I still have my doubts. For some reason, there's a thread of unease pulling at me, telling me that I've overlooked something. Grabbing my phone, I search aromas online, making sure the opening hours are listed correctly. And that's when I see it. The search engine brings up new reviews for the businesses. Dozens of them, in fact. I scroll through the reviews, all of them one-star riddled with scathing remarks. The more I scroll, the more they appear, until my screen is unreadable through the tears that have blurred my vision. What's happened? Sarah asks as she comes over to me and looks over my shoulder. I'll hold the phone up to her, letting her skim through the reviews. That's rotten garbage. That rotten garbage can. She swears as she pulls her phone from her pocket and taps it on the screen. I'll help you go through and report them, she says, and I can tell from her tone that she's trying to contain her anger. What's the use? I sniffle, feeling absolutely defeated. Ivan will just come up with some other way to get at me. I wish you'd go to the police, Sarah says again, and have them find out what's going on in my basement. In the basement? My basement? I stress. You can't let Ivan win, she insists. I throw my arms up helplessly. What else am I supposed to do? I don't know, maybe nicking the gang could help out? Maybe, although I'd prefer avoiding asking the old gang for help, I say. Sarah scoffs at that. After what you did for them at the bar, I'd say they'd be more than happy to repay the favor. I'm distracted by my phone ringing and I wipe away my tears with the back of my hand before glancing at the caller ID. It's Gray, I say shakily. My heart yearns for his comfort at a time like this. That's good, maybe we'll have an idea what to do, Sarah says hopefully. Swiping the icon on my phone, I hold it to my ear to answer. Hello? Hey, you sound a little off, are you okay? Gray asks through the receiver. Yeah, I'm fine, I lie, not really wanting to get into details over the phone. My voice cracked, he presses. All he knows. The concern in his voice makes me even more upset, and a small hiccup escapes me. It's Ivan. What did he do? Gray asks, his tone suddenly going dark. He's ruined everything, I cry. I hear Gray swearing to himself through the phone before he speaks again. I'm calling over right now. I'm 5 minutes away, okay? He says. Okay. I slip on the phone from my ear to press the icon to end the call. Gray's on his way, I explain to Sarah, swallowing around the lump in my throat. She lets out a relief breath before she pockets her phone and reaches for her jacket. I'll head off and give you two some space to talk. But call me later, okay? She urges. I promise her I will, waving goodbye as she heads to the door and disappears out onto the street. Gray arrives when he said he would, and not a moment later. When he wraps his arms around me and pulls me into a hug, tears start to fall all over again. I breathe in his scent, letting it calm me as he squeezes me tight. Hey, it's okay, he says. He pulls back, my tears staining the front of his shirt. Let's go upstairs. I want you to tell me everything. How about just look at my phone? I'm sure I've been paid like bots or some shit to leave reviews. We head up to the living room where we sit on the couch together. I pull my knees up to and face him. I'm sure my eyes are swollen, my face is blotchy from tears, but he doesn't seem to mind. It's alright, I'm here. What happened? He asks, concerned. I relay the story to him, sparing no details and watching his face fall further the longer I talk. Although the boutique has been doing well since I opened it, it's still just a small business, I explained to him, feeling the emotions bubble up in my chest once again. Even a couple of negative reviews can be bad for business, but getting review bombed like this is practically a death sentence, I sniffle. We'll find a way to have the reviews removed, Gray assures me. Surely we can do that. It's difficult to do and it can take a lot of time. To tell you the truth, at this point, I don't have much hope, I tell him. Gray curses beneath his breath. He looks mad enough to tear someone apart limb from limb. He's gone too far this time, he sees, fists opening and closing as though he's imagining Ivan's neck between them. I'm so sorry that this happened. I shouldn't have let it get this far, he adds. I should have done something. I could take care of myself, I assure him, though my voice is still trembling with emotion. He looks at me softly, calming himself down as he slips a hand behind my neck and guides me closer. I know you can, he whispers. Gray leans in to kiss me, his lips gentle when they find mine, slowly picking up speed. I clutch the front of his shirt and kiss him back, letting myself fall into him and forget all about the events of the day. Though it's only been a few days I've missed this, we barely had the chance to spend any alone time together. But right now, we have all the time in the world. I'm looking forward to Gray finally making good on his promise to take his time with me. The sound of message alert has Gray pulling back from me, and when he reaches over to check his phone screen, his face hardens. I have to go, he says abruptly, frowning at the device as he pushes himself to his feet. You only just got here, I interrupt, the worry beginning to set it. Gray tears his gaze from his phone to look at me, though his eyes are strange and cold. I know, I'm sorry. Is everything alright? I ask. It will be, he assures me. He kisses me one last time before he heads for the door, disappearing from the room in a matter of seconds. I stare at him, completely at a loss for words. But now I know more than ever that the only person I should be relying on for any help is myself and the people that are loyal to me. I refuse to shed any more tears when I know that I have a way to solve the problem with Ivan, even if it means diving back into my past and do it. Picking up my phone, I search through my contacts until I find the one I'm looking for. Is it Nikki? Yep, Nikki. Nikki the loyal. Because my girlie needs all the help she can get. I don't know what they're gonna do though. I need y'all to give me proper review of my boutique. I know when something like that happens on Yelp would have a little like notification saying, hey, these reviews are false or whatever, because it has such quick traffic to it. But anyway, this is where we're gonna end today's episode off. I don't know how many chapters are left, because usually I feel like we're nearing the end. Because usually it's like, what, 25, 28, maybe sometimes 30 chapters. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.